Hi, back again. My name is Megan Mateo, if you haven't been here yet. Thank you for coming, and if you've come back to my channel, welcome back. Today, as the title says, we're going to do sort of a soft glam look, just in time for Valentine's Day, using one of my all-time favorite palettes, Urban Decay Naked 3. Isn't that gorgeous? Now this is the one with all of the rose gold colors. Mine's falling apart, unfortunately, but 4-year-olds, what can I say? So, to get started, we're going to dive right in. I have already moisturized my face. I've used Pink Coconut Face Mist by Rare Earth, something new I'm trying, along with the Neutrogena Bright Boost. And that is my moisture for right now. I am going to prime my eyes using the e.l.f. Camo Concealer. This one is in Light Sand. It doesn't match completely, but it does a good enough job of what it needs to do. I'm going to prime the eyelids, like I said, just using a little dot on each one and using my finger to spread it all out. This will give the eyeshadow something to stick to. So that it doesn't move around and it has a bit more longevity to it. So, here we go. That was easy enough. First, let me get out my notes, because I did write notes this time. I am going to start in the crease. It's a little different from what I usually do. I normally like to start on the lid, but not this time. In the crease. And that one totally fell apart. Meh. Not fun when your eyeshadows fall apart on you. Anyway. Onward! Or as my husband would say, Excelsior! Yeah. I am going to begin with crease color called Nooner. This one right here. And I am using a fluffy crease brush. See how it looks. It's probably not going to do anything for you. And going right into the crease. Spread that on. This starts us out with the beginnings of a shape for our eyes, sort of dragging the line out on either side to elongate the crease. Next, after that, going into the shade called Mugshot. There it is, right there, for our outer V. I'll tap some of this off on my hand. Deepen that up, drawing it out. Might even take a little underneath, draw it out. As you can see, it start to take shape. Same basic principle. Just making a V shape. Going underneath the eye and into the crease. Next, we are using on the outermost lid, shade called Factory, which just happens to be the one that's broken. Fun. Right here. Thank you, 4-year-old Alice. I'm not bitter. Not at all. And because I know that this is going to have a lot of fallout, thanks to the fact that it's broken, just tapping it on. Also, going forward with a little makeup wipe and just cleaning the brush off a little bit as I go. Also just plain cleaning a little bit as I go. Nothing more messy than broken eyeshadow palette. Yuck. Thank goodness I have more wipes. I just use a baby wipe for the most part. Target, sensitive skin, baby wipes. If it's good enough for my child's butt, it's good enough for my face. As far as sensitivity goes. So, following that, also referring again to my notes, ta-da, done our crease in Nooner, outer V in Mugshot, outer lid in Factory, middle lid is going to go in the shade called Buzz. It's beautiful, shimmery pink color right there. And for this, I'm actually wetting down the brush a little with a makeup wipe, just going like that, back and forth, so that I get more of a foiled look. Because it is a beautiful shimmery shade, I just want to make sure that I make the most of that shimmer. And usually when you apply these shades wet and it's shimmery, it compounds that look. So right on top of the center of the mobile lid is where that color needs to go. There. So we are beginning to shape up. It's looking pretty good. We've elongated the eye. We've got some beautiful sparkle. And now that we've worked a bit with that middle lid, we're going to get into the inner lid with this beautiful shade called Dust. It's the lightest pink shimmer. And taking this into the inner part of the lid, right here. With a wet brush to get the most impact. Now this is going to be a really pretty romantic look that'll be just perfect for a Valentine's Day date. Say a meal out. All the shimmer will look gorgeous under dim candlelight. You can thank me later. So now that we have that, going to start going back into the deeper shades and sort of playing up a bit of the lower lid. Before I do that, I want to make sure that I sweep away any kind of fall down that may have happened. Surprisingly enough, not a lot of fall down. Yes! Haha! Instead it got all over my chair. Yay! The little miracles. Yeah. So in my notes I have For the lower lash line, I'm going to use the beautiful shade Dust that we had, that light pink shade, and then this deep gray called Darkside. And we'll be using that, well, both of those on the lower lid. Darkside I'm going to use with a damp angled liner brush. So I'm going to dampen that up using my makeup wipe and just going in right away and using it sort of as a liner almost. Also going to be lining the upper lash line, so we can do those at the same time. Upper lash line with Darkside, as in welcome to the We Have Cookies. And if you got that joke, we can definitely be friends. So now this Darkside shade makes a beautiful liner. It's not too deep, but it's still quite noticeable, and so we have that much going for us. I am going to do something a little bit different, and I'm going to take the deepest shade, Darkside, into the inner corner of the eye, and then we'll be using Dust, the lightest shade, in the very center underneath the iris. So Darkside, still wet, going like that. So we're going to go to Shift, go to the other eye, line again with our shade Darkside. Just follow the angle that you get with the lower lash line. I want to extend that just a bit, and that will connect the upper liner. Also the wet version of Darkside that we have going. And just take your time. This is not really a rush job, or else it can get kind of muddled and messy. And then going into the very corner, like we said we were going to. Just like that. Next, cleaning off the brush again. Just sort of pre-clean. And I'm going to move in with a pencil brush. So pencil brushes look like this. They're kind of round all the way around. And then they come into a more of a fine tip. Hence pencil, because it's kind of like you can draw with it. It looks a bit like a pencil tip. And then dipping into the lightest pink again, Dust. Going to put that right underneath the iris. So as you can see, sort of dragging Darkside and Dust in together to make a beautiful transition shade. Underneath the iris of our eye. So there we go. Looking very pretty. It looks a little bit detached, but it also keeps your eye looking bigger because you don't have this like black rim all the way around your eye. Sometimes if we line our eyes completely around in a dark shade, it can make eyes look smaller and more closed off. Just depending on where you want to keep your eye open. You see on the top line, on my top lid, I've kept the inner corner rather light, darkened the underside, and then left the outer parts dark as well. And so that's sort of the geography of the eyeliner for this look. So far so good. I am going to go in now with a just a fluffy eyeshadow brush into the very lightest shade, which is a matte right here, It's called Strange, and I'm going to use that right underneath my brow bone, sort of brighten up a little bit. I don't want to disturb the line that I've got, that I've made with the eyeshadow, because that's sort of acting as almost a cat eye. It draws our eye out and it makes our eyes look bigger. Well, at least it makes my eye look bigger. So I don't want to really disturb that. I don't want to blend it a whole lot, but I do want some lightness there under my brow. So at this moment, we're going to hold off on doing any more with eyeshadow, and instead going to move into the face products. And with our face products, we are going to start with L'Oreal ProGlow Infallible. That's quite the mouthful. Mine is in Classic Ivory, and I'm going to use a Real Techniques Miracle Sponge, and just putting it on the back of my hand, squeeze it out, and dip in. This goes all over my face. I do find it's quite on the sheer side, which I wasn't expecting at first because it had been marketed as a medium coverage foundation. I find it a bit more on the sheer side, although it does blend and build fairly nicely, so I have no qualms with that part, at least. I am taking it sort of into the lower socket, but I am going to be letting, again, e.l.f. Camo Concealer do the concealing for me under my eye. So, as above, so below. I only do it to entertain myself. So here we go. There, we've built up more of a medium coverage. It is quite glowy, so I am going to matte it down with a face powder, but first going to do concealer. Back to the e.l.f. Camo Concealer, and just the tiniest little bit. All you need, just a tiny bit. I'm going to blend it in with a little shadow brush that I got years ago from the Sonia Kashuk line. Just one little dot underneath each eye, and then start the blending. So there. Hopefully you can still sort of see what I'm doing. Trying not to disturb the lines that I've got going from the eyeshadow. If anything, just using it to clean up ever so slightly. And there we have our skin basically done. So let me close off my foundation so it doesn't get anywhere. It's in a squeezy tube, so if you sort of just like leave it off to do whatever it's going to do on its own, it's going to just come squeezing out of the tube, which makes a huge mess. And since I've already made a mess because of the palette falling apart, yeah, I've got quite the mess going on in front of me. I am going to go in now with the CoverGirl, it's a powder foundation, and go over all of the foundation part, avoiding the under eye because the Camo Concealer dries down really matte. It kind of makes for a lot of wrinkles if I powder it as well. So just working with a big Real Techniques powder brush. These brushes are beautiful and well worth the small investment that it takes to get one. They clean nicely, they travel well, and they're so useful. Multi-dimensional. I can use it for a lot of things. Sometimes I'll just use it to blend in bronzer or say a blush and bronzer that aren't playing really well together. I'll just go over it and work it in the skin using this powder brush. It works really well. So we're done with the powder part. Now I'm going to skip in, finish up the part of the eye with a brow. This is a brow pen and mascara duo from PMELtete. I got this at local Mitsuwa, which is a Japanese market. And starting on the inner portion, just draw little bits, little hairs, and then start to map out my shape. God, that took a long time to finish that sentence. I am so sorry. I don't speak very well when I'm concentrating, clearly. So that shape looks good. Let's try the other eye. So remember, eyebrows should be sisters, not twins. You don't have to have it look perfect. I mean, perfectly even and the same. They don't have to be identical. But while they're being sisters and not twins, you should probably keep them at least sort of in the same family. So try to make it look somewhat similar, she says, as her eyebrows turn out looking not at all similar. There we go. That's better. And now I like to go with a spoolie, soften that up a bit. Because it's a pen, it doesn't soften up terribly, but you can work it through a little so the line isn't quite as harsh. And then follow with the brow mascara. I like to brush the fronts of my brows up, but I start out slowly and lightly because this brow mascara can get everywhere. So brushing brows upward in the front and dragging down. There. So those are our brows basically done. I'm going to go in now with the lightest and medium shade of the IT Cosmetics My Sculpted Face palette. It's just a full palette of beautiful contour and highlight. As a makeup artist, most of it came, used mostly the medium shade, but I fit nicely into the light shade. So I'm going to stick with the light shade and carve out a little bit of cheekbone. So just working the cheekbone. There. And if we feel so inclined, we can contour the nose a bit. Just working down. That's going to be pretty. Shift. Go down the other side of the nose. I also like to shorten my nose a little bit, and that's why I take it right underneath that center part there to really drive home the contour, bring it up and into the eyebrow, so you can see how that looks. Clean off the brush a little, and there we go. Next, blush. Profusion palette. I am going to run in with Playful as our blush, and then this shade, Bashful, as a highlight. So, blush first, Playful, get a bit of it on, and dust that in, and then dust that in. Looks lovely. So before I put on highlight, I'm going to go in and sort of mesh together the bronzer, the contour and the blush by using a large brush just to meld the two together. There. That's looking pretty. Next up, fan brush with our Bashful shade, also going to be our highlight. And put that right on top of the cheekbone. It's not going to enter our eye area because I have some crepiness and a few wrinkles there, and I'd rather not accentuate those, so I'm staying under them and right on the cheekbone. Taking it also on my nose, very tip, right there, on the chin to sort of bring it out, top of the lip, and across the forehead. Now to blend that nose contour a little bit, because it feels a little harsh to me, I'm going to use a little blush brush and bring the shade down. There we go. It's a softer look. Alright, we're getting someplace now. So following what we've got going so far, it's looking good. I am going to do lips next. This is Maybelline Color Sensational Shaping Lip Liner in Magnetic Mauve. I'm going to pop that on as our lip liner. I'm not going to overdraw, just going to follow my lip line. Alright, now that I'm looking beautiful. Oh yeah, cool thing about this one is it comes with its own sharpener, and it sort of pops into the back of it. So that's nice. I'm going to take a lip brush, blend that pencil a little. Just to soften it some. There. And then I am going to go in with Milani, and this is their color Pretty Natural on the lips. Love this one, smells like watermelon. Straight from the bullet. And it looks so pretty. Look at that shade. Don't you love it? Alright, I am going to go in now with a new product to me, Voluminous Superstar X Fiber, which has two sides. So one side is more of a lash primer, and the other side is a mascara with lengthening fibers. I've done the lengthening fibers mascara before. I've used this mascara twice so far. It's worked pretty good. I like the fact that the primer is black. I don't do so great with white primers. They just don't make me happy. This one, sort of an hourglass brush, which I'm not too keen on at the moment. But we make it work. Primer, 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 more primer, all the primer. And now that that's semi-dry but not quite, I'm going to dip in with the second side, the mascara, and it's got a curved brush. I'll move that very quickly, wiggling at the base, pulling all the way up. There. You do get some really good length and definition, as well as volume due to the primer, the length coming from the mascara with the fibers in it. So all around pretty good. It's definitely not a natural look, that's for sure. For the bottom lashes though, I'm going to dip in to waterproof Tarte Lights Camera Splashes. Use that on my bottom lash line because regular mascara tends to melt on my bottom lash line and go places. I don't like for my bottom lid lash mascara to migrate down my face. It's not a good look on me. So, there we go. We're looking pretty good. Looking glam. Nice for a night out. Definitely would not be wearing this one to my very conservative office, but it would be fun in other venues. So, let's put on some lashes, since this is for Valentine's Day, special occasion. Lashes are apropos, so I will be back to show you what the final look is going to be. The lashes included. Hold on just a minute. So, I'm back. Here's our finished look with the eyelashes. I've gone through and just done sort of a dewy finishing spray to help lock everything in. And we are finished and ready for date night for our Valentine's Day festivities that's coming up really soon. So I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did like it, be sure and give me a like, and if you love what I do, just subscribe. It'll make me super happy. I do film these videos, try to at least once a week, and yeah, so I'll see you next week. Until then, stay safe. Bye.